Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode in our Let's Play series. So in this gateway here, you might remember we had a mega furnace with 512 furnaces, but now I built another furnace. I destroyed that old one, and this furnace has exactly 1728 furnaces, right? This furnace array. And that's exactly how many items you have in one shulker box, right? So the idea is to distribute one shulker box between all furnaces and smelt everything at the same time. So I'm not gonna do a tutorial, but I will try to explain exactly how this furnace works. And even though it looks like it's very complicated, it's actually very simple. And yeah, I know it's a little bit of a meme, but I will explain. And of course, if you are really bad at Headstone, you might not understand everything, but if you have some knowledge in Headstone, you will be able to reproduce this. So I'm gonna start with the collection system here. So as you can see, we have a furnace with three hoppers always, right? One on top to insert the items, one on the bottom to remove the items, and one on the side for the fuel, right? So let's start with the bottom hopper here. To remove the items, just go into droppers, and we have this cringe binge clock here going all the time here, right? Powering all these droppers, and that's what this does. Just drop the blocks here, the smelted items here, and yeah, we have a giant water stream here that everything goes to the center there, and then we can collect up top there. And I did this to make it more compact, right? But there is better ways to do it. Like for example, instead of having two droppers here, I could have just one of those hoppers pointing to the other hopper and have only one dropper here, right? Save a little bit on the droppers. I could have the droppers pointing all, instead of pointing down, pointing to that direction, right? To the center. And so I would drop everything closer to the center and wouldn't need this giant pool of water, just a little bit here in the center. So yeah, there is a lot of improvement could have been done this way, but I think this is fine, right? A little bit cringe binge because of all these observers here, but as you can see here, the MSPT is fine. So it's fine, right? The FPS is a little bit laggy with all these flashing observers, but it's fine. And for the fuel, it's just minecarts going on top of these hoppers here that feed the fuel, right? And here I have a lever to unpower the rails here to stop the minecarts so I can refuel. And mostly I'm using wood planks, as you can see here, because I have a birch farm, right? So these are kind of easy to farm, and they smelt 1.5 items, but we mostly just melt one item at a time, right? So yeah, the full is just minecarts. This one is a little bit different because we have that water stream on the center where the items come when they are smelted, right? So I had to do this little bit of curve here, and on the other sides we have both layers here to distribute the items, right? So this is why it's a little bit different over there. And now comes the interesting part, in my opinion, of this furnace array, that is the distribution system, right? So we have 27 rows with 64 furnace each, because the intention is we have 27 stacks, right, in one shulker box, and the intention is to distribute one stack in each of these hoppers here, and then each minecart will distribute in 64 furnaces, making exactly a full shulker box, right? 1728 items. So you can see the headstone here for these hoppers. So whenever we get a stack of items here, this hopper will start sucking the items. So yeah, at the start we're gonna have items here in this comparator will power this piston going down here, and when it's empty like it is now, it pushes the block back up, and this observer will power this repeater that will power the rail, and the minecart goes and distributes the items. So yeah, this is a circuit to only activate when the hopper is empty, and it activates, but then it doesn't keep the rail powered, right? I think this has a name like a rising edge, a falling edge, I don't know. Who cares about names for redstone stuff, right? So yeah, now you might be asking, how do you do to give exactly one stack to each hopper, right? What kind of magic do you use, right? So here we have a shulker box unloader by umango. I will leave a link in the description, but it's a pretty simple one to build. As you can see, it's a dispenser here where you insert the shulker box, a block on top, you press a button, there is this torch that gets empowered, and the piston pushes back here and dispenses the shulker box. And when the button deactivated, breaks the box, and the slime pushes the item with enough momentum that the shulker box burns in the lava, but the items don't, right? And then here I just made another circuit here to activate after the items get broken, to push the items here and then here, right? So yeah, this is important because when you push the items here and then here again, all the items will be in exactly one spot, right? And why is that important? It's because the hopper has a cooldown and a limit that it can only grab one stack of items I think it's ever 2 or ever 5 seconds, I'm not exactly sure, but if you have all the items in the exact same spot, the hopper will only have time to pick up one of the stacks, right, before it goes through the cooldown. So yeah, we don't need to do any stack separation or anything, right? And here, as you can see, we have 14 hoppers in this line here. And this is the exact distance we get that the speed of the items is fast enough that the hopper can only pick up one stack. If you keep this blue ice going and place more hoppers, the items will lose speed and the hopper will be able to pick up more than a stack, right? So that's why this is the distance. And then here we just push the items that way and push it again to these other hoppers here. We have 13 more hoppers. So we have 14 plus 13, 27 hoppers, and like I said, each hopper goes to a mining cart that goes to 64 furnaces. And there is one small problem with this circuit here in particular, is that if you drop one item, as you can see, it's not enough time for the comparator to see that there is an item there, because the mining cart here with a hopper sucks the items too quickly. And I think actually if it is 5 or less, it won't detect. So whenever you insert a shulker box to smelt, if there is like 5 items or less in one of the stacks, it might not get picked up by, or it will get picked up by the hopper, but might not activate the minecart. So yeah, but in my case, I always smelt a full shulker, so that's not a big problem for me. Okay, so I guess it's time to demonstrate finally, right? So the way you do is you place the shulker's box here that you want to smelt, and I will activate the hitbox to be easier to see. So when we press, we get that, and boom. As you can see, it's a little bit hard to see, but all the items are in the same spot, right? They are very well together, and as you can see, the minecarts already going to distributing the items, and we're gonna start get the smooth stone smelted here, as you can see. And yeah, it takes 1 minute to smelt a full shulker box of items. And you can press the button again as soon as the minecart here, this first minecart goes, right? That's enough time to distribute the items again. But we'll do that later. Let's just wait for this batch to be over. And here I just have a player shulker box loader. So whenever it's full, it will breaks and you get the shulker box here. So yeah, let's try to do it again. We have 2 more shulkers here. So as you can see, it pushes all the items. And as soon as this first minecart goes, you can already push the next shulker box, right? But obviously will only go when the minecarts come back and pick up the items. So yeah, like I said, it's simple headstone if you understand a little bit of headstone, right? If you don't understand headstone, it might be a little bit too complicated, but in my opinion, it's pretty simple if you understand. There is not that much headstone going on, it's just this circuit here, and the shulker box unloader, and aligning the shulkers. I can show you guys a little bit. So you have another stick piston with observer here that when the button turns off powers this 2-tick repeater, powers this block. There is a dust there, and then there is 3 ticks and 2 ticks to power this one, and on this side we have 2 ticks and 2 ticks, so yeah, to power this other observer there. And there is a sign there holding the lava. So yeah, if you know a little bit of headstone, I'm sure you can replicate this. And of course, obviously using always this glazed terracotta to not stick the slime, and the honey here to align the items so they are a little bit on top of the hopper, but also on top of the blue ice. And we have our stuff here. There we go. 3 shulker boxes of smooth stone in about 3 minutes. Yeah, just in case you guys want to replicate, I'm gonna show in a little bit of different angles here. So we have a glazed terracotta here, and on the first blue ice here, we already have the first hopper, right? And then it's always 2 hoppers, skip 2 blocks, that is where the fuel goes, right? And 2 more hoppers, right? All the way down to here, and it's 14 hoppers in this. And then you have this wooden pressure plate that detects items, headstone dust on top of glass to not lock this hopper, 4 ticks of this repeater powering this block that powers this stick piston with a slime that will push the items back here. And here we just have a pressure plate, dust, and this other piston with a slime, and of course the honey to align the items for this next row of hoppers. Yeah, hopefully this is enough to replicate. If you guys want to build it, of course. This... Oh shit, I looked at an Enderman. Okay, like I was saying, this shulker box filler here, or player shulker box loader, is pretty simple. We have the dispenser here with empty shulkers, right? And then you have this comparator with a block here, a headstone block on next to it. So it will only power when this is full, powering this stick piston that will power this one that breaks the shulker, and actually has a observer here on top, and when it breaks, it goes back and then powers this block that powers the dispenser to dispense a new shulker. So yeah, I guess I showed you everything, all the headstone here that you guys can replicate, like I said. But if anyone wants, I can do a schematic or a world download for this, so leave in the comments there if you want. And I guess that's it for today's episode, is just showing this furnace array. Hope it helped you guys to do your own, or at least get inspired to build your own. So yeah, that's it for today, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Promise next episode won't be headstone, it will be building. Bye!